And it's time now for business, and we're going to be looking at the mammoth budget that the White House revealed on Friday. Catherine Bennett's here. Catherine, what kind of price tag are we talking about here?
Well, this is Joe Biden's first budget since taking office, and so we can really see what his priorities are with the coming fiscal year. And it's a $6 trillion proposal, and in that proposal, he's channeling a lot of money into social spending. So there's going to be around 4 trillion euros worth of investment into physical infrastructure and social programs. Now, that money would be used to tackle inequality and climate change and provide years of free public education. The White House says as well that it would be completely paid for within 15 years. Now, to finance the plan, Biden is going to be increasing taxes on companies and wealthy Americans. This year will see the national debt rise to over $3 trillion, which would then drop to $1.8 trillion in 2022. Biden's plan would add as much as $14.5 trillion to the national debt over 10 years, bringing the US to spending levels not seen since World War II. Now, Biden's opponents have criticised the proposal, saying that it will cause the economy to overheat. It's worth remembering, though, that this is just a proposal for now. The next challenge is making sure that it gets through Congress, where although Democrats hold a slim majority, Republicans are sure to put up a fight. Well, Biden's ambitious economic plan has been challenged somewhat by recent figures, showing a surge in consumer prices in April and slow job growth. Today, new figures showed that US inflation climbed 3.1% in April compared to the same month last year. That's its biggest year-on-year increase since the 1990s. Spending also increased by 0.5%, with consumers mostly directing their dollars to bars, restaurants and leisure activities. Income, however, dropped 13.1%. The Federal Reserve has been hammering home that any inflationary increases are only temporary, and that, as Biden has said previously, supply chains will adapt to shifting prices. Moving on to the energy sector, where this week could mark a tipping point for major oil companies. The sector is under pressure from all sides. Governments, shareholders and the general public want them to do more to tackle climate change and cut emissions. The French oil giant Total is the latest to announce that it's turning over a new leaf, as Ellen Gainsford explains.
There are big changes afoot for big oil. In the latest shockwave to the industry, Total's shareholders have overwhelmingly voted to approve a rebrand of the company, shifting towards renewable energy.
Today, to contribute to the sustainable development of the planet facing the climate challenge, we are moving forward together towards new energies. Our ambition is to be a world-class player in the energy transition. That is why Total is transforming and becoming Total Energies.
Total's climate strategy aims for carbon neutrality across its global operations by 2050, bringing it in line with targets set in the Paris Climate Agreement. The company's announcement comes after a turbulent week for big oil. On Wednesday, ExxonMobil and Chevron faced rebellions from their shareholders over their approach to climate change. And a judge in the Netherlands ordered Royal Dutch Shell to take more aggressive action to drive down its carbon emissions.
It's for the first time in history that the judge has decided that the large polluter, Royal Dutch Shell, should stop causing dangerous climate change. This will have an enormous impact not only on Shell itself, but on major polluters throughout the Netherlands and globally.
Pressure for change isn't likely to let up. Last week, the International Energy Agency warned that oil companies must stop all new oil and gas exploration projects from this year if global warming is to be curbed.
Let's see how markets are doing at the end of the week. Europe markets reached record highs on Friday and closed earlier on a positive note. London's FTSE was just above the flat line, while the CAC 40 and the DAX were up around 0.75%. On Wall Street, stocks are also looking at a winning week, with stocks moving higher through the course of trading. Dow Jones and the S&P 500 are up around 0.33%, while the Nasdaq is also lifting and pushing 0.5%. Well, to Argentina now, the country with the world's highest meat consumption, where meat prices have almost doubled in recent weeks. The government blames a rise in demand on the international market, particularly China. Buenos Aires decided last Friday to ban exports for a month without consulting Argentina's powerful livestock farmers, who aren't happy. France 24's team on the ground sent us this report.
In a country as carnivorous as Argentina, The price of meat is important. In recent months, it's risen at twice the rate of inflation, which is already one of the highest in the world. Now, even middle-class carnivores are being squeezed.
For
these 2 steaks, I paid 400 pesos. 7 months ago, I could buy them for half that. My son and I used to eat meat 2 or 3 times a week. Now it's never more than once.
To try to bring prices down, the government has taken the drastic decision to ban exports for a month, blaming them for the rise in the domestic market. The move has angered Argentine breeders. The powerful lobby reacted quickly, halting local livestock trading.
Uruguay, Brazil, Paraguay.
Neighbouring countries like Uruguay, Brazil and Paraguay are delighted. They're going to take advantage of this ban to take over the markets that are so difficult to win, like Europe and China. Difficult to win, but easy to lose.
No livestock sales means no work for the slaughterhouses, for exports or the domestic market. Now, stocks are dwindling.
We have little meat left to sell. Most of our cold stores are already empty. If it carries on like this, we'll have a supply problem.
The standoff between the government and the agricultural sector is one the country can't afford. In the middle of an economic and health crisis, Argentina really needs the foreign currency.
And lastly from me, some news in the tech sector. Twitter has listed a new paid subscription service on app stores called Twitter Blue. Twitter has previously said that it's looking to diversify its revenue, and so this plan is part of that. At the moment, it makes the bulk of its money through advertising and data licensing, but it ended 2020 with a net loss of $1.1 billion. So Twitter Blue could be a solution. A subscription would cost around $2.99 a month, and although details are thin on the ground at the moment, it could give you extra features such as the ability to undo your tweets or to organise your favourite tweets into folders called collections. And that wraps up the business from me.
Okay, thanks a lot, Catherine.